problem caused by Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Why did homes get so unaffordable? Because we had 20 million illegal aliens in this country taking homes that ought by right to go to American citizens. Why did tax bills get so unaffordable? Because Democrats were raising taxes while congressional Republicans under the president's leadership, we're now cutting taxes. Why did food get so expensive? Because we printed trillions of dollars and threw it into green scams that made our agricultural economy suffer while Americans were paying higher prices for food. On every single one of those issues, Mr. President, I think we've made incredible progress. But it would be preposterous to fix every problem caused over the last 4 years in just 10 months. I think that we've done incredibly good. But what I see over the next year, and you heard Brooke talk about joy and gratitude. What I really think this season represents for me, and I think for the entire administration, is that we have now done incredible work to fix what Joe Biden broke. And I think that next year in American growth and American prosperity could be the best year that we've had in the United States of America. It's going to happen because we're all working hard. It's going to happen because we have the greatest country in the world. But I think for congressional Democrats in particular, if they want to talk about affordability, they ought to look in the mirror. We are fixing what they're broken. We're proud to do it. It's the job that we were elected to do. But I think 2026 is going to be the year where this economy really takes off.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Pam?
President Trump, thank you for talking about Sarah. Heartbreaks for her family. And Andy is doing well. His parents, Melody and Jason, wanted me to tell you, and I was with them yesterday in the hospital. He's a miracle. I was there when the surgeons came in, and they wanted you to know this. He's a miracle, and if everyone in this country can continue to pray for that family. He's got a long road ahead of him, but he is a miracle. And of course, our DC initiative is led by our amazing, and the monster will be held accountable who did this.
Mr. McConnell,
Our marshals, of course, are leading the DC Safe effort. We have made over 7,000 arrests at your direction. DC is safe again. Working with everyone around this table, Pete and everyone. Scott and I were in Memphis together last week, and everyone, and Bobby, your HHS, doctors and medics are on the ground to help people in Memphis and DC. In Memphis, we've made over 3,500 arrests so far, and Homeland Security, Christy, you've been instrumental in this. But it's everyone working together as a team. We even have Treasury agents out there. It's unbelievable on the ground in DC and Memphis. Of course, law enforcement first, FBI, Kash Patel has led the FBI. We have a 100% increase in the arrest of violent criminals, thanks to your leadership. DEA, led by Terry Cole, over 45 million fentanyl pills, 4,200 kilos fentanyl powder. That is the equivalent of 347 million potential lethal doses. That's unbelievable that you've taken off the streets of our country. And the weight of all the drugs combined taken off by DEA is the weight of 17 full semi-trucks.
What is going on, everybody? And welcome to the stream. I popped up late, but we are tuning in live now as President Trump is planning on making an announcement. As we await that, we are tuning in here to this meeting here from the White House.
19,000 of those were from trafficking cases. We've been sued on the legal front now. We have been sued 575 times. 575 times. More than every administration going back to Reagan combined. Most recently, yesterday, I was sued by an immigration judge who we fired. One of the reasons she said she was a woman.
No.
Last I checked, I was a woman as well. 24 Supreme Court wins, President Trump, 92% success rate. We told you it would take a while to get to the Supreme Court. We're doing it at record speed, led by John Sauer, of course, Sarah and Hosh, all working together. Immigration, we're winning. Nationwide injunctions, ending DEI funding, working to secure that our federal workforce is aligned with your America First agenda, representing pretty much everyone in this room. We met with your general counsel yesterday, Doug, working with everyone. It's nonstop. ICE, of course, we're winning there with Christy. We're Brooke, SNAP benefits, won there. Marco, USAID. repeat, National Guard, of course, going nonstop. Our U.S. attorneys are fighting violent crime, working around the clock to make America safe again, which was your directive. Our Civil Rights Division, suing Gavin Newsom 3 times now, Prop 50, keeping boys out of girls' sports, and in-state tuition for illegal aliens. We've sued over election integrity. We are litigating major universities with Linda.
What's going on, Jerry? Welcome back. Good to see you, Stragahart, as well. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Good morning, good evening.
Schools. Our civil division fighting sanctuary cities every single day. And of course, our antitrust division with Google, major settlement. Our attorneys are working on terrorism, TDA, MS-13, Antifa, President Trump. We've charged more than 500 defendants with assault on federal officers thanks to your directive. And also, we have dropped countless cases against Americans that were prosecuted under the Biden administration, including J6, COVID, FACE Act, and more. And as everyone knows, we cannot talk about pending grand jury investigations, but no one is above the law, and that includes what happened in Arctic frost. I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Holidays. Thank you for fighting for our country.
Thank you.
This is Gillibrand now.
Good evening, Greenfingers. Good to see you, bro.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for allowing me to be at this table. When I came on board, I knew really none of you in this last year, and it's been a year, Mr. President, since I've had the pleasure to serve this country on the workforce. Everybody said the Department of Labor would be quiet, fly under the radar, you won't have to do too much. Absolutely not, because you made the American people realize the American dream is real for the American workforce. And it's been under your leadership, Mr. President, that over 2 million jobs that has been created since you started have been native-born workers. And that is the difference between this presidency, this administration, as opposed to the Biden administration, where mostly foreign-born or federal government jobs. And I think through the private sector, over 2 million jobs of native-born. And so the Labor Department has wasted no time in putting that into action with our Make America
so guys, the town pool call time was around 9 a.m. and then we had the cabinet meeting at the White House, which is
we have done over
currently underway,
200,000 new apprentices.
And then we
so
will
far in the first year,
have the official public announcement
new apprenticeship
from the
programs.
Roosevelt Room.
Why do we need the apprenticeship programs
coming up
with the
shortly.
men and women in the trades?
So guys, thank you for tuning in to the stream. We're going to tune into Trump's live announcement today.
Invest in America. We have to
and
build
we are going
this
to,
country.
I apologize, I had the wrong screen up there. And we are
craftsmen
going to make
of
sure
this
and
country.
see
I
how
think that,
the markets could
Howard and I,
react.
we talked about that from the beginning.
And if
we're
they
gonna
will
have to
react.
lean in on that because
This
we
was a
need
very
the
quick
labor
and
force,
urgent
700,000
live stream.
new skilled jobs with
So I
electricians,
actually had
construction
planned on
workers,
making a video instead
machinists,
this morning,
and so
but
forth.
we are going to go
as
ahead
I
and cover
traveled with
this.
the Vice President as well, we
Look
see
forward
that
to some
on the manufacturing
good
jobs of this
good
country.
content
There
coming
are
here
the
soon for
Department
you
of
guys,
Labor
though.
are going to
Lots of
get,
things
the
happening this
workforce
week,
skilled
guys.
again.
Big
Working
week,
with Secretary
big
McMahon
crypto
as we
week
move a lot of the
this week.
education out to our respective states. We are now working together, and we have deployed $86 million in investments, and a lot of that is in AI infrastructure jobs to have our new workforce proficient and literate in AI if we're going to continue to lead the AI race, and we're working on that. And the Department of Labor is now creating and will soon launch the AI infrastructure and workforce hub, which we will be able to track that metrics to see exactly if these dollars are going correctly. Integrating education and workforce with, obviously, Administrator Loeffler and I are on the road a lot together because we're talking about Main Street as well as a lot of the manufacturing jobs and how we're being an ally to our businesses as opposed to an adversary. For far too long under the Biden administration, we were adversaries to our business owners, and we want to give them a leg up always and make sure that we're paying attention. And we want our workforce to be educated. We do not need the numbers that we have seen across this country where our 4th through 8th graders cannot read, write, or do any math, and they are our future workforce. We have to depend on the American worker first. Also, lowering healthcare costs in line with the executive order. I'm working with Treasury and HHS, and rulemaking is underway to expand healthcare transparency and make pricing more affordable for our employers who offer these to their employees. Promoting retirement security, the department rescinded the Biden administration's guidance that restricted the use of crypto in the retirement investments, and we're seeing more and more of that, where we also rescinded the supplemental statement that discouraged the fiduciaries from considering the alternative assets for 401ks, and that will also come through the Department of Labor, that rulemaking. Ending abuse of cheap foreign labor at the expense of the American worker. We launched over 200 investigations into companies who will have abused and or fraudulently against the American worker. So Project Firewall was released. Thank you, Mr. President. We want the trained workforce, but we will root out the fraud and abuse, and we'll protect the American worker first. And slashing the job-killing regulations. The department has rescinded discriminatory DEI practices, and I will tell you, reducing compliance costs for businesses as it was for DEI has saved American businesses nearly $1 billion this year by just getting rid of DEI for that compliance cost that they've had to do. So, Mr. President, continuing to skill the American worker, the American workforce is going to be my mission. We have to do it faster. We have to do it quicker. We have to build so that the American people can realize
we're
that
closing
American
in on
dream
the
that you have laid out so
liquidation
eloquently.
levels
It's an
there.
honor to serve under this
We are.
administration and to talk to the American workers who believe in the American dream again, the pride on their face, the pride of the American
Mr.
worker, the
Whitehouse,
skilled
Mr.
men and women who build
Whitehouse,
with their hands.
aye.
It's an honor.
Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you, and Merry Christmas.
Very good job. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Chris?
Mr. President, I am honored and frankly inspired to sit at this table with this incredible team of leaders that work every day for one and only one constituency, the American people. Not this group or that group, the American people. The price of energy is very much on the mind of Americans. The biggest determinant of the price of energy is politicians, political leaders, and policies. That's what drives energy prices. Under your leadership, what we've seen in the United States is just a steady
Yeas are
drop
61, the
in the
nays are
price of
36. The
gasoline.
motion is
a
agreed
huge
to.
consumer cost for Americans.
The clerk
As
will
you
report the
mentioned early
nomination.
on,
Liquidation
well below $3 a
station.
gallon right now, and
the
trending
judiciary,
downward.
Lindsay Ann
There
Freeman
are a
of North
number of
Carolina to
stations
be
in the
United States
heartland of
District
America
Judge
with
for the Middle District
$1.99
of
signs
North Carolina.
flying today.
Under the previous order, the
That's
Senate stands
simply
in recess
impossible
until
without the
2:15
leadership
p.m.
and changes you've brought. Now, of course, you can go to California, where the average price of gasoline is between $4.50 and $5 a gallon today in California. That's just bad political leaders there and bad policies in California.
And taxes.
And taxes. of course.
Taxes they charge on gasoline are just insane. Terrible.
And electricity prices is a very parallel story, but it's a bigger moving ship, so the changes are a little bit slower. But Americans are outraged at roughly 30% rise in the average price of electricity across this country. But everything we are doing together is going to reverse that. Not just stop the rises, but start a downward trajectory in electricity prices. And I can say that with confidence, not because we think these policies will work. We know these policies will work, and I'll get to that in a second. We're going to stop closing power plants. We've already done that, of course. Stop closing the coal power plants and natural gas plants that were shut down. We've got over 30 gigawatts of generators just sitting there today, not allowed to run. Well, of course, we're fixing that immediately. We're going to bring on from our existing grid tens of gigawatts more capacity that'll drive down the cost of electricity. But if we look at the last 5 years to see what works and what doesn't work, the most Trump-aligned policies in the electricity sector were by, no surprise, one of your cabinet members, Secretary Burgum, for 8 years governor of North Dakota. Over the last 5 years, production and demand for electricity in North Dakota grew 35%. Think what data center boom's going to do. And what happened? Electricity prices went down. Didn't rise slowly. They actually went down those 5 years. That's the answer. Trump-aligned energy policies increased demand for electricity. Nebraska and Texas, more Trump-aligned states, had significant growth in demand for electricity. They had electricity price rises, but well below the price of inflation. Unfortunately, Biden brought all of us a lot of inflation. If you look at the other end of the spectrum, California, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maryland, I could go on. What happened in those states? Policies and politicians that forced the building of unreliable electricity generation, which requires new infrastructure and transmission lines. And what happened? Today they produce less electricity than they did 5 years ago. A lot of spending money and less electricity. What does that mean? Of course, much faster rises in the price of electricity. Blue states have had 1.5 times faster rise in electricity prices than red states. Red states alone, less than inflation. We need to bring those policies. You are bringing those policies to the national level. We hope the blue states will come along with us, but your policies are going to start the decline of electricity prices nationwide under your leadership by just bringing back common sense. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this team. For people here who are focused on winning, special thanks to Howard and Scotty who were there with me to see the Denver Broncos win on Monday night. Now we want nationwide wins on energy for 3 more years.
And we're doing more energy production than we've ever done by far right now.
Records across the board that'll continue to be reset every year you're in office.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for giving me a very interesting job. Some days it's a little controversial too, but it's been an honor to work for you. You are a great American. The fights that you pick are the right fights, and they're always on behalf of this country. So I appreciate the chance to do this job heading up this department. If you think about what Joe Biden did with the Department of Homeland Security, he used this department to invade the country with terrorists. He opened up the borders, let anybody come in that wanted to. He put them on airplanes. He let them through our airports. If they could figure out a way to get to our shores and in our country, he just opened the door and invited them in. So it's our job to get them out. And I want to thank you for this team, because I look around the table and I think every single person here has helped me do my job over the last year. They've supported us at the border and given us resources. Marco negotiates all the travel documents and relationships with other countries to take their people home. 2 million people have gone home already. The people that were here illegally, you've removed from our country and sent home. And we're going to send more home for the holidays too, and make sure that they get to be with their families in their countries. Yes.
Mostly the bad ones.
That's right. Pam.
Focus is the bad ones.
That's right.
And there are a lot of them.
Terrible, horrible people. And Pam, make sure she's fighting for us in court so that we can get up every day and be bold. We're going to hire our 10,000th ICE officer. Will be on the job within 10 days. So we have hired 10,000. We've had hundreds of thousands of applications. We've got within the department, TSA went through this government shutdown without any delays. They all showed up for their shifts and worked hard doing security. And they have been absolutely fantastic. Sir, you made it through hurricane season without a hurricane.
Yeah.
And so FEMA, you kept the hurricanes away. So we appreciate that. And FEMA is deploying resources and dollars 150% faster than ever before. So somebody does have something bad that happens to them, you are immediately there helping them and telling them they have the resources to get back up on their feet. So we have built and deployed hundreds of miles of border already. You have cut the fentanyl flow over the southern border by over 56%. You've saved hundreds of millions of lives with the cocaine you've blown up in the Caribbean. And, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back. And we're going to, this next year, make sure that we only put people in leadership positions in this country that love this country and have its back. So thank you for letting us get up every day and have a purpose. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, you're exactly right. We are saving this country. We're doing it one Main Street at a time, and we're doing it at record speed and at record levels. Under your leadership, small business optimism, according to the U.S. Chamber Index for small businesses, has reached an all-time high in the history of that index. So on Main Street, the economy is coming back thanks to your leadership, thanks to getting Biden inflation under control. Small businesses' number one concern right now is finding skilled labor, and that's why Secretary Chavez DeRemer and I have entered into an MOU to speed that workforce to small businesses that under this administration are now at record levels. 36 million small businesses have now taken on board, for the first time in the SBA's history, $100 billion. That's $45 billion in small business lending at 85,000 small businesses, most of that under your term, and $52 billion out to small business investment companies. So we are running this agency like the best run bank in the country. We are growing small businesses across Main Street, and we're deregulating to the tune of $100 billion, working with all my fellow cabinet members. And thank you for putting together the best cabinet in history. Iron sharpens iron, and thank you for bringing such a strong leadership group together. And then finally, I've walked factory floors from Alaska to Maine, and the workers, the small businesses, most manufacturers in this country are small businesses, 600,000 of them. They are so grateful to your fair trade, low inflation, deregulation agenda that is creating national security and economic security in this country like never before. And so I want to also finally thank you for bringing faith back to the White House, to this administration. I want to thank Brooke for hosting the Cabinet Bible Study and invite everyone tomorrow to Bible study and making this country something that we can be so proud of under your leadership. And I am so blessed and honored to be part of this team. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. I am truly grateful to be a member of your team here at this table to help support you in delivering on the promises that you made to the American people. You came in with a very clear mandate of taking on the rampant weaponization, politicization of the intelligence community and federal law enforcement, experiencing yourself, the deep state abusing their power as they have against you, your family, and so many of the American people. Bring out accountability truly for those who have abused their power, making sure that the intelligence community is supporting your efforts in keeping the American people safe, secure, and free, and being the president of peace. I'm grateful to be in this position as your Director of National Intelligence to support you in these efforts, and I'll cover very briefly what we've done over the last year under your leadership and what we look forward to continuing to focus on next year. First of all, under your leadership, again, we've taken on a historic effort for transparency, declassification, and exposing these abuses of power by these deep state actors. We've declassified over 500,000 documents, many of which had never been seen before by the American people, put them online to bring about this level of transparency. We formed a weaponization working group, again, to be able to go after a lot of these abuses of power that have never seen the light of day, to support the accountability that under Pam Bondi's leadership in the Department of Justice is coming about. Secondly, bring about reforms to the intelligence community to make sure that we have the most effective and efficient and focused workforce that's really working on bringing about the priorities you have laid out in ensuring our country's security. And lastly, Mr. President, working with many of our partners here around the table, is going after these domestic threats. We have threats coming from both Islamist ideology as well as Islamist terrorists, foreign terrorist organizations, and those who seek to do harm to the American people, many of whom were let in across our borders under the previous administration. We are focused on these tasks and this imperative for the American people, and just appreciate your leadership, Mr. President, in empowering us to be able to conduct this service. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Say it loud and clear. Lee?
Mr. President, your team at the Trump EPA has been crushing it all year to fix the big mess that we inherited and deliver amazing results for the American people. I've had the opportunity to visit all 50 states since confirmation earlier this year, and to hear from real people where they meet, where they live, and to bring their great ideas and their asks back to us to be able to deliver for them. At the Trump EPA, we have proven that you can both protect the environment and grow the economy. On the environmental front, since you were sworn in earlier this year, we have averaged a big environmental accomplishment every single day. On the 100th day, the 200th day, the 300th day of your presidency, each time we released a list of our top 100 environmental accomplishments. That has included a historic LA wildfire cleanup that you ordered us to complete in record time, which we did, and the Army Corps, under the leadership of our great Secretary of War, did their part as well. The federal government completely did all of the work needed to allow these residents and businesses to be able to rebuild, but poor leadership at the local and state level, unfortunately, is still resulting in these property owners unable to rebuild, and it's wrong. We also were able to reach an agreement with Mexico to be able to implement a plan to permanently end a decades-old raw sewage crisis on the southern border with Mexico. And Secretary Rubio and his team, Chris Landau, Ambassador Johnson, they've been amazing to get that done. On the deregulatory front, we have proudly launched a massive blitz that amounts to the largest deregulatory effort by any agency in the history of the United States. To put some perspective on it, in 1 year, at one agency, we will do more deregulation than entire presidencies have done across all agencies. It's incredible. You could go back across 4-year terms to 8-year terms. You've never seen this much deregulation. One agency, 1 year. In fact, when finalized, the proposed rescission of the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding amounts to the largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States of America. From fixing the agency's definition of waters of the United States, which is important for our farmers, our ranchers, and other landowners, to the effort to end electric vehicle mandates and promote consumer choice, eliminating regulations designed to eliminate entire sectors of our energy economy. We're thinking big and we're delivering big. We have reduced terrible derailments on diesel exhaust fluid systems. We're getting water moving faster, new pipelines and power plants built, and we're helping to unleash energy dominance. Mr. President, on the operational front, we have significantly reduced the size of the agency workforce, and we are accomplishing more with less. It's all about priorities, and our focus is on fulfilling our statutory obligations, helping to fast-track project approvals that were taking way too long, and closely following the law, as well as key Supreme Court decisions like Loper-Bright to overturn the Chevron doctrine. We inherited massive backlogs that we have been eliminating all year long. We've been implementing your executive order to end COVID-era remote work. We consolidated real estate, canceled expensive media subscriptions, and closed a Biden EPA museum that none of you knew even existed. I'm sure none of you actually visited. To put it another way, in 2024, the Biden EPA obligated and spent over $60 billion in 1 year, an agency with an operational budget of about $10 billion a year. In their own words, caught on camera, they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, wasting precious tax dollars to pay off well-connected Obama and Biden officials. And they were doing without any apology or regret. The Biden EPA, in fact, was amending grant agreements just days before you came into office to reduce agency oversight. But this year, 2025, at the Trump EPA, similar theme that you'll hear from everyone around this table. With our actions canceling wasteful grants and implementing other measures just mentioned, we have saved $30 billion. They spent over $60 billion. We have saved over $30 billion. The bottom line, by the way, is that the Green New scam is dead. It's a new day at the EPA where we will protect the environment and grow the economy. We will deliver on the Trump mandate every day. And we will fight with just one constituency front of mind, and that is the American people. Thank you, Mr. President, for being willing to take a bullet for this country. And if you were to ask me what I'm grateful for, whether it's a Thanksgiving, it's a Christmas, a Hanukkah, a New Year's, any time of year, the fact that this president, after 4 years serving in office, he could have just left it in the rearview mirror and went on to really enjoy retirement. But he is willing to take a bullet for all of you tuning in at home, because he believes in his flag, our freedom, our liberties, and to save the greatest country in the history of the world. So I'm grateful this holiday season for you, Mr. President. You're willing to take a bullet for all of us, and by all of us, it's the American public.
Thank you.
Mr. President, good morning, everyone. Well, in spite of the fact that your charge to me is to fire myself, we've really been incredibly hard at work making sure that we can return education to the states. And as I sit and listen to all the emergencies that we are addressing in this country, from the economy to our borders to everything that we're doing, I would say, sir, that if we do not fix education in our country with this hard reset that you are expecting, I think the greatest national emergency we could face is our education. Because if we are not going to educate our children, we're going to continue to fall behind the rest of the world. When there are only 30% of 12th graders, 8th graders, and 4th graders that can read at proficiency level, that is an incredibly harsh statement to make about our country. And you told me when you first were elected president, and you looked at, I think, right after you took office, the first NAEP scores, which is the Nation's Report Card, came out and showed how far down we were in educational proficiency in our country. And not only the NAEP scores, but the international scores as well, showed us about third from the bottom. You told me you were not only embarrassed, but you were angry about this, and that we had to do something to change this in our country. And we took a hard look at it, and you absolutely said the bureaucracy of education in Washington is keeping its thumb on preventing growth, what we should have, because it's best handled at the state level. Letting states put their programs in place, and some states are going to do it a lot better than others. But it's not going to happen from Washington, D.C. And when I hear things like, well, with no disrespect to any other country in the world that have really great programs, Germany, Sweden, Norway, I hear about this all the time. Point of fact is, they're this big. The United States is this big. We can't do it from Washington, D.C. It has to be done at the state level. So what we've been doing, as Lori brought up, Secretary of Labor brought up, we have a great working relationship. We have already signed and implemented one MOU or interagency agreement to handle the WEOA program and the Perkins grants to make sure it works. I call these, these are programs, pilot programs that we're putting out there. And if these are going to work, we will be able to permanently transfer these programs to other agencies. They're working like a charm. We've taken some of our best people in education. It still operates under the budget of the Department of Education and under the management of the Department of Education, but working with Lori's personnel. And when I hear pushback on that to say, well, how can this possibly work to take education and put it in labor? Let's be efficient. One example, in order to draw down on a lot of the grants that they are helping us with, we're using their grant system. The grant system at the Department of Education is like held together with bubble gum and rubber bands. And it did not interact with any other agency. Now we have this really smooth operation already in labor. So that has prompted us to sign also other interagency agreements, 2 more with labor, 1 with HHS, 1 with the Department of State, and we'll be moving other programs, but these are proof of concept. Let's make sure they're working and working smoothly before we ask Congress to codify these permanent moves. So that's kind of in the world of K through 12, what we're looking at right now, but in the world of higher education, as Attorney General Bondi mentioned, we've been working really very hard to make sure that we've got anti-Semitism and DEI out of our universities, and put some pretty stiff fines on, worked some good deals. I've enjoyed working with Harmeet, who is just an incredible negotiator. So we're bringing all of that to bear as well. So I can say, sir, that we are moving to return education to the states and to bring the level of education back up, making sure our students can read by reintroducing the science of reading in schools. And going into next year, I can honestly say we've got a lean, mean machine operating at the Department of Education. It was only half the workforce when we started, and we're more efficient, and I think we're going to see better results as we move into next year. So thank you for this incredible opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, during this holiday season for empowering us, HHS, me, Dr. McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, and Dr. Oz, to change the trajectory of this agency towards public health in a way from the tradition of serving the mercantile interests of the medical industrial complex and the big pharmaceutical companies. 2 weeks ago, we ended, under your leadership, a 20-year war on women by removing the black box warnings from hormone replacement therapy. The medical cartel was telling women that hormone replacement therapy during menopause was dangerous for them. In fact, here's what the science said. It diminishes the risk of fatal heart attacks by 25%, cardiac disease by 50%, Alzheimer's by 35%, bone fractures by 50 to 60%. It improves appetite, it improves sleep, it improves energy, it improves happiness. There are tens of millions of women in this country who've been deprived of that therapy because of just scientific malpractice by the medical cartel. We are now remedying that, and this remedy will now be available to all women who want it during one of the most difficult transitions of their lives. MFN is one of our greatest accomplishments. It would not have happened without you. You were the only person who believed in it. You drove us to get it done. We've now made agreements with the 5 biggest pharmaceutical companies. We have 12 more in the lineup to make agreements. By the time this administration leaves office, 95% of the drugs in this country we will have the lowest prices of any nation in the developed world. Americans are already getting the benefits from these. These companies are already lowering these prices dramatically, as you've noticed. And then this week, Howard at Department of Commerce and Jameson at the U.S. Trade Representative made a bargain with Great Britain to raise their drug prices in conformance with your promise that the Europeans would raise theirs to counterbalance us lowering ours, and therefore we would keep intact the ecosystem of innovation and protect innovation. So congratulations on that, Mr. President. When you first asked me to take this job, one of the first contacts we made was with a leading economics professor, health economics professor at Harvard. And we asked him what's the one innovation that we could do that would most dramatically improve the health care experience for the average American. And he said there's no contest, it's to get rid of prior authorization. Thanks to your leadership, we were able to convene the largest insurance companies in this country and do something that every administration, every Congress has promised for the past 30 years. We actually got it done. We convened the insurance companies representing 280
I apologize for that, but I am not on mute.
And got them to agree, most of them by January of 2026.
I was just tuning in and listening in on some of this.
Remove prior authorization for most of their
as well as doing a lot of other things.
For all the procedures we want them removed from. And that means that American patients at the point of care will be able to get an answer immediately. If your doctor says you need knee surgery, you will know before you leave that doctor's office whether your insurance company will pay for it or not. Similarly, healthcare records, the tech industry has refused to share healthcare records. You asked us to change that. We convened the 60 biggest tech companies at a conference that you presided over about 2 months ago. We now did a secondary conference which 400 leading companies have all come in and agreed to remove any kind of blockages where individual Americans can get their own health care. Americans own their health care records, yet they were not able to access them. And if you lived in New Jersey and you moved to Oregon and you got injured, you went to a hospital, you would have to spend maybe 45 minutes filling out forms on a clipboard. because your doctors there could not get your healthcare records. They couldn't get your blood type, your allergies, all the things they ought to know immediately so they can save your life. Now that has all changed, and all these companies now have agreed to remove all the blocks on sharing healthcare records. Every American will have their healthcare records available on their cell phones, and it's already happening. In the last 6 months, there have been over 100 times the number of healthcare records shared by hospitals than during the entire previous administration. On deregulation, HHS proudly is now leading the pack, and thank you for your help on that, Russ. But today we announced the revocation of the nursing home rule, which was overburdening rural areas across this country, Indian reservations, with regulations that were going to destroy the nursing home industry in those communities. And that is going to be a $25 billion savings. Those are some of the things that we're doing because of your leadership. President Trump, thank you so much, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, Bob, very much. Great job.
Well, Mr. President, you've assembled an incredibly talented group here. If you took a look at this group compared to any Fortune 500 leadership team, any group of startup folks, I mean, this is an amazing group in the breadth of what's being accomplished. And the timing couldn't be better because with your leadership and vision, you've set us up for this age of abundance as we head into next year, the 250th anniversary of this country. And what are we heading into that year? As we've talked around the table, you've heard about massively lower taxes, massively lower regulation, abundant energy, record capital investment coming in, job growth. I mean, we are set up to really have something to celebrate next year. And I just again want to say thank you to everybody around the table. You gave us one big assignment in Interior. Of course, Interior, the largest balance sheet in the world. In the Department of Interior, if it was a standalone company, 500 million acres of surface, 700 million acres of subsurface, over 3 billion of offshore from Guam to the Virgin Islands. And you said, we got to take care of that balance sheet. We got to develop those resources. And what have we done across that? Producing record amounts of oil, record amounts of gas. And again, we set out with a goal, energy diplomacy, sell energy to our friends and allies. We're exporting a record amount of energy to all of our friends and allies around the world. That's helping do that. And you're giving a gift to America as we head into this. You're giving us peace abroad, and you're giving us prosperity at home. That bodes so well for our country. One small little gift that we're giving to all Americans from one teeny part of Interior, which is the national parks, is that not only are we keeping prices low for all American citizens, offering 10 free days for our national parks next year to coincide with our holidays, but also a $100 surcharge for non-residents. That is going to raise hundreds of millions of dollars for helping restore and preserve all of our best parks. So as we close out with it, I want to also say a big celebration going on here in Washington, D.C. We've been thrilled to be part of the National Park Service, the U.S. Park Police, part of this great effort across a number of us on making D.C. safe and beautiful. This will be the safest and most beautiful capital in the world. We are doing so many things, whether it's hundreds of homeless camps, thousands of graffiti sites, cleaning up ponds and fountains, preparing this thing. The United States is never going to be performing better economically. It's never going to be looking better, just like the White House has never looked better, all because of your vision leadership. So again, thank you, sir.
He may have just
given an incredible
he may have
Christmas
just nodded
gift
just a
to
little
Americans
bit
by setting us up for an incredible 250th anniversary.
That's very nice. Thank you, Doug, very much. Rocco?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. First of all, this is a very talented team. As you've seen,
he's like, oh no, not another one.
Picked every single one that's on. You deserve tremendous credit for doing that. It's an honor to be in this role. It's also an honor to be involved in and be a witness to what I believe is the most transformational year in American foreign policy since the end of the Second World War.
I can't tell if his eyes are closed
and it's
or if he's looking
transformational
down.
because for the first time in a long time, we have a president who basically puts America at the forefront of every decision we make in our relations with the world. And that may sound weird to people, like, of course you always do. No, that hasn't always been the case until about a year ago. And I think we've all witnessed in our own respective spaces how in every interaction the president has with the world, the goal he has in mind is very simple. Does what you want us to do, or is it what we're going, or is it going to make us stronger? Is it going to make us richer? Is it going to make us safer? If it is, he's for it. If it's not, he's against it. If something's going to make America weaker or poorer or less safe, the president's going to be against it. And every single thing he has done in our foreign policy has been driven by the American people in mind. And I can go down the list. Why has he focused on mass migration? It's very simple, because no country is safe if you can just walk in without us knowing who you are into your country. We've seen the destruction that that's wreaking, not just in our own country, but the impact that it's having in Europe and in many other parts of the world. You talk about trade deals and the trade situation has been involved in. People, all this reporting on it. It's very simple. The president views the last 40 years as an era of which American workers and American farmers have been ripped off. They've been ripped off, and what he's saying is we want to have trade with the world, but it has to be a trade in which American businesses and American workers and the products they make and what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. On issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money. This is taxpayer money. When the president has said is we're going to do foreign aid, but we're going to do foreign aid for countries that are aligned with the United States and in a way that doesn't waste the taxpayers' money. Mr. President, you deserve tremendous credit for that. Many of us, the Vice President, by the way, I want to acknowledge, has played an extraordinary role in our foreign policy, and he too has been a witness to all of this as it's been occurring, and he's been a big part of it as well. You talk about NATO. The President's not against NATO. He went to NATO and basically said, look, you guys, we're paying all the money, and he got them to do the 5% commitment, which everybody said was never going to happen. It was impossible. Everything this president does is driven by the American people. Whether you don't have to agree with the actual move, but understand the motivation. The motivation is always you, the American people, and what's good for you, for your family, for the country, and for our economy. But the president is also committed to peace in a way that all of us have seen. He achieved in Gaza, and he does it, by the way, not just because he hates war and he thinks wars are a waste of money and lives, but because he's the only leader in the world that can. No other leader in the world could have pulled off what happened in Gaza. And I can tell you, I can't get into the details. The Vice President knows what I'm talking about. That deal doesn't happen without the president's direct interaction with the leaders that were involved in this decision making. And everyone said that deal couldn't hold. And then the president shepherded through the United Nations of all places to get a global coalition of countries to line up behind the peace deal, behind the border peace. And it's still, every day is a challenge, but it's been driven personally by the president. It's the reason why we're involved in this whole Ukraine-Russia conflict. That's not our war. It's not the president's war. This war started, it never would have happened if you'd been president. But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why even as we speak to you now, Steve Witkoff is in Moscow trying to find a way to end this war, to save lives of 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you want to know, are dying every week. More people are dying a week in that war than have died in the entirety of the U.S.'s involvement in Afghanistan or Iraq. Just think about that, how bloody.
I don't know how he does it, man.
The president's taken on this issue of Sudan personally, not
80-something-year-old man, and he's out here just doing
far
the
away
damn
from the
thing,
United
bro.
States, because he's the only leader in the world that can bring it about to an end. Not
Got
to mention
more
all the
stamina
other
than
peace
all of
deals,
us,
very
man.
dangerous ones like India and Pakistan, or Cambodia and Thailand. And so on all these things, Mr. President, I think you deserve tremendous credit for the transformational aspect of our foreign policy.
Poor guy can't even keep his eyes open, man.
Probably 4 decades. The American foreign policy is driven by what is good for America and Americans, whether it makes us safer and stronger and more prosperous. If it is, he's for it. If it doesn't, he's against it. And that sort of clarity is transformational. I close with this, and I know I'm last, so I wanted to be fast, but there was a lot to cover. I do want to say this is the most wonderful and magical time of the year. By that, of course, I'm referring to the college football playoffs. And I just want to say this as a point of personal privilege. And I'm a Florida Gator, but if the University of Miami gets screwed out of the college football playoffs after going 10-2 and beating Notre Dame, the whole thing should be scrapped, and you're going to have to take over it next year, Mr. President.
That's great. Well, thank you all very much. It was terrific. I hope it wasn't too long, but it was very concise, and we've done a lot. This group has done a lot. Amazing. Everybody at this table has done a fantastic. And Susie, thank you for doing a great job as our Chief of Staff. First female Chief of Staff in the history of our country, which is pretty amazing when you think of it, right? And she's the best. Thank you very much. Great job. So after that, do you want to ask any questions?
Mr. President, there's been a lot of speculation about who the next Fed chairman could possibly be.
Here we go.
You had somebody in mind.
Yeah.
How many names were you given on the final list? And does that person currently work on the board of the Federal Reserve?
Well, I'd say that we probably looked at 10. Then Scott interviewed some people that I didn't know, but he knew. And a lot of people were involved in the process, actually, and Howard was involved. But I think we probably looked at 10, and we have it down to 1.
Can you answer this? I want to ask you about Elon Musk, if I could. You talked about Elon Musk. You had him at dinner here in the White House. Is he now back in your circle of friends?
Well, I really don't know. I mean, I like Elon a lot. He was he really helped during the election with his endorsement. He felt strongly. Look, we had one problem. You know, I didn't want to have everybody have to have an electric car, and he makes electric cars. And yeah, I think we get along well.
You know, on affordability, when you talk about affordability, is going forward, are the American people, do you believe, getting impatient with the reforms that you're making? They talked about it's about.
I think they're getting fake news from guys like you. Look, affordability is a hoax that was started by Democrats who caused the problem of pricing, and they didn't end it. Look, they lost in a landslide. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. We won everything. You take a look at districts, it was 2,750 to 525. Because that was an affordability problem. We brought it down. Look at energy. Look at the gasoline price. It's like the simplest, and it's the biggest. Because if energy comes down, everything comes down. That's the way it works. We are going to be at 250. You said 199 in some places in the country, right? You said it. I didn't say it. And they won't check you. They'll check me. So, you know, I like to use your number. 199 a gallon. Unthinkable. If you go back a year and a half ago, it's unthinkable. So, no, we're bringing the prices down, way down. Beef is coming down now. We've done certain magic, and beef is coming down. But we inherited horrible prices. We inherited really the worst inflation in history. We inherited that. When I came in, that's what he had.
What? Shadow flu, what's up, bro?
And we fixed almost everything.
You're the guy from last night that paused the Fed meeting to plug your page?
Wars. We got one to go.
What?
But including 8 wars. But when they always say, I watched today where they have a race going on right now in Tennessee, and this woman goes, affordability.
Bro.
They're the ones that caused the problem.
That Fed meeting was trash to begin with.
The prices were way high. We're bringing the prices down. But they're like scam artists. You know, they're I call them con men and women. They come out, they say affordability, like, oh, I see prices. We're going to get prices down still further. But we brought them down from the prices they cost.
The hell out of here.
The reason that they had the highest inflation in the history of our country is because they had the highest prices. But we brought them down. And now we have normal inflation. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, thank you so much for taking the question.
Hey, Shadow, I appreciate you, though.
I wanted to clarify something that you had said on Sunday regarding the boat strikes near Venezuela. You had said that you didn't know if the second strike on that one boat had happened, but you wouldn't have wanted it. Now that your administration has acknowledged that it happened, do you support that second strike? And Mr. Secretary, I wanted to clarify something you had said in the interview back in September, I believe on Fox News.
I'll be quiet.
You said that you would watch that strike live on television. In real time, did you know that there were survivors after the initial strike?
Well, look, all I know is this. Every boat that you see get blown up, we save 25,000 on average lives, 25,000 lives. They've been sending enough of this horrible fentanyl and other things like cocaine and other things, but fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack, to kill our entire nation. Because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody. It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample, and they died. They couldn't believe
Shadow,
it.
last night's Fed meeting was not.
I still haven't gotten.
He immediately let us know from the beginning he wasn't going to talk about economic policy or rate cuts or anything.
It wasn't one strike, two strikes, 3 strikes.
It was nothing, man.
Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people.
Still had to cover it, though.
I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had
Now,
a strike.
the market still
I hear
moved.
the gentleman that was in
Quantitative
charge of that
tightening
is extraordinary. He's an
ended.
extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him. But Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people. I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this. I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that. There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks. It's an amazing thing when you see a boat going along. And, a lot of the press would like to say they're not. You see the boat. They're not maybe drugs. You see these boats. First of all, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions and loaded up with lots of white containers? They're bags of things. No, they've done an amazing job, and Pete has done an amazing job. But Pete, you could probably better answer the question.
No, you're spot on, sir. I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out, everybody's laid out. You got 20 million people invading our country over 4 years. We don't know where they're coming from. That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels and violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them, pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back. And the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
And Mr. Secretary, on the second strike, you said it happened more than an hour after the first strike?
I couldn't tell you the exact amount of time.
Minutes, or you had left the room?
I already stated my answer quite clearly.
So remember this, we lost last year, I think it was more than that, but People don't like saying it because they always
Guys,
say
if you're just tuning into the coverage here,
115,000,
make sure and
numbers
smash
we've
the
been
like
hearing
button
for
and
years.
drop a comment in the chat.
So we
Let
lost
us know
last year more than
what you think
200,000
about
people,
this.
dead people.
What will the
Ruined
outcome
families beyond the 200,000. And those 200,000, that family will never be the same. But these people have killed over 200,000 people, actually killed over 200,000 people last year. And those numbers are down. Those numbers are down. They're way down. And they're down because we're doing these strikes, and we're going to start doing those strikes on land too. You know, the land is much easier. It's much easier. And we know the routes they take. We know everything about them. We know where they live. We know where the bad ones live. And we're going to start that very soon too.
Mr. President, thank you so much, Mr. President.
And you know what? When we start that, we're going to drive those numbers down so low. And then you're going to have families be able to live without the fear of their son or daughter just having a pill to have a little fun and ending up dying within a period of 60 seconds, right? No, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let it continue to happen. What Biden did to this country by allowing all these people, and I call them animals in many cases, I think they're animals, to come into our country and destroy our country and let all those drugs pour in. Let people just walk across the border like it was nothing. You look at them, a lot of them, you know, you say, oh, let's not discriminate. I'm not talking about color. I'm just talking about you look into the eyes of some of these people. We're smart. And you see a killer. Come on in. Just come on in. 11,888 murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. He allowed them into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. But he also allowed drugs to come in at record numbers. And hundreds of thousands of people a year died. And we're taking those son of a bitches out, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for taking your questions. I think this is the most transparent administration I've ever seen.
I'm impressed by these people. I'll tell you, how strong are you? You've been holding that.
Let's go, man.
For 2 hours.
Let's go,
you know,
man.
There are very
Can't help
few
but be excited to be.
There are very few people who could do. I'm very proud of you.
Thank
I have no idea who you are.
I don't agree with everything.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, last week, militia groups in Iraq attacked the Christian region's gas field, the largest gas field, which even the U.S. companies invested in the...
But man, how could you not be supported here?
And the Christian Prime Minister
Feels good.
requested the United States to provide
Feels
them
good
some
to get
sort of
shit
means
done.
of defense system to defending their civilian infrastructure and U.S. investment in the Christian region. Are you willing to providing them the support? And if I had this question, tomorrow the United States is going to open and inaugurate...
Can you speak louder?
Yeah, of course.
Is that possible? You're the most gentle, beautiful voice, man. Gentle person. Go ahead. Just take fewer words and louder.
Yeah, sure. I repeat my first question. Last week, the Iraqi militia groups attacked one of the largest gas fields in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, which even the U.S. companies have invested in these gas fields.
Yeah.
And then,
are you from Iraq?
I'm from Kurdistan, Iraqi Kurdistan. Yeah. I'm working for Huda Media Network. And the Kurdistan region prime minister, he requested the United States to providing them some sort of defense system to defending these gas fields and U.S. investment in the Kurdistan region. Are you willing to helping them?
Well, we'll look at it. I heard about it, and I'm hearing about it more now, frankly. It wasn't at the top of my list. It's a very unusual question, I think, but I assumed you're from the area, and to you it's a very important question, and to me it is also, because people are being killed. I will say this, Iraq has been much different in terms of us than they were prior to us taking out the nuclear capability of Iran. You know, Iran has gone down many, many steps in terms of its fear factor. They were the bully of the Middle East, and they're really not the bully of the Middle East anymore. And Iraq was being bullied by Iran. You know, we had a president that thought it was brilliant to blow them up, and they blew them up, and all of a sudden, instead of having a power that was basically equal to Iran, they had Iran ruling the Middle East for a long period of time. But Iraq, from the day we hit them with those B-2 bombers and knocked out and obliterated, because CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't total obliteration. Well, it turned out it was totally obliteration. It was every single one of those missiles hit its target. It was actually amazing, but it was wiped out, totally wiped out. I will tell you, Iraq has been a much friendlier place. They talk to us. The Prime Minister actually nominated me, along with about 78 other countries, for the Nobel Prize. I'm the only one that was nominated by almost 100 countries that didn't get it. But that's okay. But I saved a lot of lives. But Iraq nominated us for the Nobel Prize, and that was a great honor. We didn't expect that from Iraq. Iraq has been a much different place since the taking out of Iran the nuclear capability. Yeah, let's get to another question.
The meeting,
Here we go. This guy's a beauty.
Secretary Rubio mentioned the meetings ongoing in Russia today. Do you have any update from Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner on that?
No, because I've been spending too much time with you. I mean, we're spending a lot of time in here. We wanted to do this you talk about being open and transparent. This has to be the most transparent administration in history. We spent a lot of time answering your questions and giving you a lot of good results. I mean, I think everybody here gave you good results. But no, I don't. I will have after I leave here.
But do you hope for a breakthrough, or is it not quite at that stage?
I don't know. Look, I don't know. All I can tell you is that we're trying very hard to save 25 to 30,000 people, mostly men, mostly soldiers, every month. 25,000 to 30,000 soldiers. It's impossible. That's half a stadium. Take a big football stadium. Take half of those people in a stadium, and they're wiped out. They're killed every month. It's crazy. That war is crazy. And it would have never happened with me, and it didn't happen for 4 years.
You just mentioned potential land strikes. Can you elaborate anything on that? Are you talking
Yeah,
about
I'll elaborate. If they come in through a certain country or any country, or if we think they're building mills for whether it's fentanyl or cocaine. I hear Colombia, the country of Colombia, is making cocaine. They have cocaine manufacturing plants, okay? And then they sell us their cocaine. We appreciate that very much. But yeah, anybody that's doing that and selling it into our country is subject to attack.
Hold on.
Not necessarily just Venezuela.
No, not just Venezuela. No.
Hold on.
Venezuela's been very bad. Venezuela's been really bad in something else. Probably
Oh,
worse.
what the hell? Did I just miss something here?
A lot of other people do it too. They would send murderers into our country. They would empty their jails into our country. They sent people into our country that we don't want.
Did you guys hear that?
They sent their drug dealers and their drug people into our country. They sent people from their mental institutions into our country, and we're getting them out. That was bad. That was real bad.
Did
and
you
they
say
also
we
sent
appreciate them for selling us their cocaine?
President, do you think he should resign over the fraud scandal?
Hold on, y'all.
And who should?
Tim Walz.
What timeline is this?
Look, I think the man's a grossly incompetent man. I thought that from the day I watched.
I'm sorry, that
KD
threw me all the
destroy
way
him in
off,
the
bro.
debate. I was saying, who was
Y'all.
more incompetent, that man or my man? I had a man and he had a man. They were both incompetent. And, I had a man and a woman. I thought she was very incompetent too, but now she's leading the field, and I think she's leading the field for the nomination. Anyway, look, that's up to them. That's up to the Democrats. You know, the problem with them is,
listen,
they have
when
really
Trump
bad
is gone.
policy. And I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want him to change it necessarily. Because I want to run
I
against
hope, man,
it,
somebody
whether
takes his place. It's
not
gonna
going to be me. It's going to be somebody that's going to probably sitting at this table.
It's going to be so boring.
Could be a couple of people sitting
when
at
he's
this
gone,
table.
man.
Could be a couple of people running together sitting at this table, you know. But I want them to win because we've done a great job for this country, and I want that to be carried forward.
People don't like the way he talks, but you know what? That's human.
I think we have a tremendous bench.
That's what
really
a human does.
Bench. But
they speak their thoughts.
No, I think that Walz is a grossly incompetent man. There's something wrong with
Without
him.
fear.
Okay? There's something wrong with him. And when you look at what he's done with Somalia, which is
but the cocaine
barely
comment,
a country,
man.
you know, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America,
I love it.
A bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes or however many lakes they have. They got a lot of lakes. But this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off. And now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that, Scott. I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, accompanied by the United States Ambassador to Japan and the United States Secretary of Commerce.
Bro, what's going on here? Hold on.
Well, welcome, everybody.
What happened?
I'm incredibly proud to announce that this evening we're going to be signing $490 billion of investment. So I'm sorry I left you down. I didn't get to 500 billion. I came a little short, but we'll get there. Anyway, so these deals are driven by the Japanese Strategic Investment Initiative, which was created by your tariff policy and by your historic trade agreement with Japan. So that was the underlying reason that we were able to get all these deals done today. So the commitments ensure the economic and national security of the United States of America. We're going to be developing energy. We're going to be developing nuclear, semiconductors, and strengthening the entire domestic supply chain. So I'd like to kick it off, right? And the first company I'd like to announce is Westinghouse, which will invest up to $100 billion in nuclear reactors
here we
to
go.
restore U.S.
Here we go.
energy dominance.
Here we go, guys.
And we have the
Here it is. All right, guys, here it is. Here is Trump's live announcement. I was confused. I didn't know really where I was at here, but so the Trump's actual announcement's coming up now. We just had the cabinet meeting, but it looks as though Or is this the replay? This is the replay. I'm confused. It shows live now, which is why I'm like, okay. Hold on. Let me refresh this. Okay, that was the cabinet meeting that we just watched, right?
Co-signer is Bruce Flatt, who's the chairman and CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. So come on
I
up.
step away to go to the bathroom, and I
There you
get
go.
a little bit confused there.
And hold it with the president.
Okay.
We're starting with the big deals. Then we have GE Vernova, also $100 billion by using nuclear, the construction of SMRs, and also large-scale power equipment such as gas turbines, steam turbines, and generators. And we have Scott Strazik, CEO of GE Vernova. Good job. Thank you. Next, we have Bechtel is doing up to $25 billion in construction and engineering services to build these large-scale power all across the United States of America. And Brendan Bechtel, please come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
All right, I think that's all of that for today. This was it. That was the cabinet meeting for the day. And let's see. I am slightly confused. I believe there's still an announcement coming, guys.
The Senate will come to order. The question occurs on the Freeman nomination.
I thought it was at 1, but
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker. Okay, thank you. Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Thank you. I did get you, thank you. Yeah, hold on a second. Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley. Thanks. Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan. Thanks. No. Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts. Thank you. Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Blackburn, Bozeman, Britt, Cornyn, Curtis, Daines, Durbin, Grassley, Hassan, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Kane, King, Lankford, Lee, McCormick, Moody, Mullen, Peters, Ricketts, Risch, Scott of Florida, Tillis, and Tuberville. Ms. Lummis? Ms. Lummis, aye. Mr. Rounds, aye. Mr. Graham, aye. Senators voting in the negative: also Brooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cortez Masto, Gallego, Gillibrand, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kelly, Kim, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warnock, and Warren. Mr. Whitehouse, aye. Mr. Marino, aye. Mr. Heinrich, no. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Ms. Rosen, aye. Mr. Lujan, no. Mrs. Shaheen, aye. Mr. Coons, no. Mr. Reed, Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Mr. Markey, no. Mr. Welch, no.
I apologize. Excuse me. I apologize for not being in the chat, guys. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for being here. I do appreciate you. Zeus Fox Knight, what's going on? Jerry, thank you. Mr. Xavius, what's going on? Sky Lee, what's going on, man? ATL Guy, what's good, bro? Speed Demon, what's good?
Mr.
Welcome to the
Sheehy,
stream.
aye.
We are actually still.
Mr. Husted, aye.
I may have had it confused, but I believe Trump is still set to make an announcement here soon. I believe what we watched at the beginning of the stream was just the meeting, but I believe that Trump's announcement is coming soon. That that was more like a little, well, as many in the chats mentioned, it was more like an ass kissing session, but still not really an ass kissing session because, you know, just recognizing the accomplishments that Trump has made so far this year in his first year as second term of presidency. So
Mr. Kramer, aye.
From what I understand, there is another announcement coming. Well, the actual announcement coming, and I need to be for sure on this, but I do believe this is coming, as there are many live streams scheduled for this event.
Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Hawley, aye.
I do appreciate those of you showing up. Don't forget to smash the like button on the way in. I greatly appreciate it. Just takes a little quick tap, tap, tap. Tap that thing for us. Thank you very much.
Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Marshall, aye. Ms. Collins? Aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina? Aye. Ms. Klobuchar? No. Mr. Hoven? Aye. Mr. Merkley, no. Mr. Haggerty? Aye. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Sullivan, aye. Mr. Wicker, aye. Mr. Crapo? Aye. Mr. Cassidy, aye. Mr. Banks, aye.
What is going on, Rose Byrne, Music Full Wave, and Erjo? Thank you guys for joining the stream. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new. It is free and worth it.
Mr. Paul, aye. Mr. Schumer, no. Mr. Cotton, aye. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Mrs. Capito, aye. Ms. Ernst, aye. Mr. Young, aye. Mr. Justice, aye.
Crypto was mentioned once in the meeting earlier. We're still waiting to see what happens here. I believe here in the next few minutes there's supposed to be Trump actually making himself an announcement. What we seen was basically like a press conference. But I could be wrong, but there are scheduled events for 2 p.m. So we're going to see what happens. Yes, cream pies. What's going on, cream pies, man? What is going on, cream pie?
Mr. Thune, aye. Mr. Moran, aye.
Bitcoin in limbo as we await. We do have a sell signal printing on the 15-minute, but it does look ready to drop here, doesn't it? And I believe it could. We did tap that $92,300 resistance.
Thank you.
Next up is Kiewit, also $25 billion in engineering, procurement, and construction services. Thomas Shelby, come on up, the group president. Next up, someone we know really well. Masa-san from SoftBank is going to provide $25 billion of engineering, development, specification, design, procurement of large-scale power infrastructure in America.
All right, guys, here we go. It is officially about to begin. Trump's announcement is officially about to begin. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. It is now officially finally time for Trump's announcement today. So thank you again. I do appreciate you being here. Please don't forget to tap the like button and subscribe to the channel. And, of course, drop your opinions and what your thoughts are in the chat.
Aye.
News conference we had before, wasn't it? Yeah, but it was a good one.
Here we go, guys. Strap in.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and we're thrilled to be joined by one of the most successful business leaders and people anywhere in the country, whether it's technology, no matter what business you're talking about, there's really nobody quite like him. He's chairman and CEO of Dell Technologies. Make great everything, great computers, great everything. Michael Dell, very much of a legend, who's here with his really exciting announcement. It's so amazing, and much more importantly, he's here with his wonderful wife, Susan, and they have a special relationship. I think I can say that, really. It's very nice. I don't see too much of it. I see the opposite, but I don't see too much. I have two special people, and I've seen that. I've known that for a long time, and I think it's a tremendous thing. Also, the CEO of Altamir Capital, Brad Gerstner. Where are you, Brad? Brad Gerstner is a terrific fellow who's very much involved in this incredible thing that we're doing today, along with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Treasury Secretary, Scott Besson, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Commerce and Science and Transportation, Ted Cruz, House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith, Vice Chairman of the House Republican Conference, Blake Moore, as well as the Chief Design Officer of the United States Airbnb co-founder, Joe Gebbia. I want to thank you all for being here. It's a great group. And I guess a potential Fed chair is here, too. I don't know.
A potential Fed chair is here.
Potential.
Guys.
He's a respected person, that I can tell you. Thank you, Kevin. Today is Giving Tuesday. I don't know if anybody's heard that one before. But
this should be interesting.
It is indeed Giving Tuesday, one of the biggest days of the year for philanthropy and charitable giving. And this afternoon, Michael and Susan Dell are committing to one of the largest private donations in American history, which will directly benefit the next generation of American children through the new Trump Accounts program that we created in our One Big Beautiful Bill. And Michael and Susan came to see me along with Brad, and they said, this is an idea. And I said, I think, it sounded just so good and so unique. But that's why he's been so successful, and they've been so successful in life and in business, because they're unique. Trump Accounts will be the first, I guess you could say, real trust funds for every American child, allowing family members, employers, corporations, generous donors to contribute money that will be invested and grow over the course of a child's life to be used for their benefit after they turn 18. So in other words, these are children that are going to an investment's going to be made. That investment's going to continue to grow. We hope, right? We hope, and but it will, and they'll feel like Michael Dell someday. But at 18, they'll have a lot of money, a lot more money than they would have had, and potentially a lot of money. But these accounts will track the overall stock market and will be 100% private property controlled by the child's guardians. In honor of America's 250th anniversary, the Dells are announcing today that they are giving 25 million American children $250 each to save and to invest in their personal Trump account. Now, that's the equivalent of $6.25 billion. In other words, to put it succinctly, Michael and Susan are giving $6.25 billion in total, and as a total contribution. That's big stuff. I don't care who you are. That's big. Come here, give me a hand. Let me have a little of that luck rub off. That's fantastic, Susan. These gifts will be available to the first 25 million children aged 10 and under the zip codes where their median income is $150,000 or less. So they're giving them to children that won't be born particularly rich, and they're going to be hopefully very rich someday. This will give millions of dollars, millions of children, middle-class families a stake in American prosperity, a benefit from the rising stock market, and a better shot at the American dream. It really gives them a shot at the American dream. Michael and Susan, I want to thank you for this extraordinary act of kindness and patriotism and charity. This is truly one of the most generous acts in the history of our country. I mean, you don't hear about things like that, and we got to let people know he doesn't want and she doesn't care about that, but I do. I think when somebody does that, you got to let them know about it. As I mentioned, this gift is being made possible by the largest tax cuts in American history, which are Republican majorities. Every one of them. Ted Cruz is with us. He worked so hard getting that done. That was the biggest, most consequential bill they say ever passed. And you know, if they remember, Michael, they thought we had to put that in 12 to 14 bills. I said, I don't know if we can hold it that long with the Democrats. And we said, let's try doing it once. So we did, and people were surprised, but we got it done. So I congratulate you guys. Amazing job. Under that bill, the federal government will also automatically be making a one-time seed contribution of $1,000 into the tax-deferred Trump accounts for every newborn U.S. citizen, fulfilling a promise I made in the 2024 campaign. Trump accounts should grow to be worth many thousands of dollars by the time the child is 18 and even more by the time they are 20 or even 30 years old. We think it's going to be something really unique and really special. We hope many others will follow Michael and Susan's example and make their own contributions. I'll be doing it too, to the next generation, including businesses, churches, philanthropists, family members, and parents themselves. I think we're going to have a lot of people, Susan. I think a lot of people are going to be contribute. A lot of people are watching us right now. They might not be $6 billion plus, but there'll be a lot. There aren't too many people that are in the 6 billion range, but there'll be a lot. A lot of friends of mine have already told me they're going to contribute a lot of money, and a lot of them are going to leave a lot of money in their wills, so that's very important. And as you watch us today, I hope you'll be doing that. Contributions to Trump accounts will also be a great benefit for employees. Be able to do tax-free. It's tax-free. We expect hundreds of major companies to announce plans to contribute to these accounts in the coming months, and we've had tremendous interest in that regard. So the Trump accounts will be available starting on July 4th next year. And Michael and Susan, to you again, it's an amazing act of just incredible everything. I mean, the life you've led to be able to do this, even to be able to, a lot of people have a good heart, but they can't give $6.25 billion. And Michael, probably knowing you, it's not the last of it either. It's not the last. But on behalf of the United States of America, I want to thank you both, and I want to thank all three but I want to thank you both because you've been friends of mine, and it's a spectacular couple. This is really an amazing people. These are unique. And I'd like to have you come up and say a couple of words and tell us what you have in mind, because what you have in mind is good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be with you here in the White House. And, you know, when you passed the Invest America Act on July 4th of this year, we were really inspired to see that happen. And this is something that, you know, Brad had first mentioned to us in 2021. We thought it was a great idea then, and it's amazing that it happened. And we also saw that this act would become a platform. And, you know, we believe the smartest investment that we can make is an investment in children. And this act has created a platform for families and friends and communities and companies and philanthropists to contribute to these accounts to create a savings and opportunity and hope and prosperity for tens of millions of children in this country. And Susan and I are super excited to announce our $6.25 billion gift to 25 million American children, 10 and under, and our gift will cover most of the children that are 10 and under that are not part of the federal program, the 0 to 2-year-olds, and who also live in zip codes where the median income is $150,000 or less. And I have spoken with a number of other wealthy Americans, philanthropists, and we are confident that others will join us because we all understand the incredible impact that a gift like this can have on the lives of young Americans. So again, it's a great honor for us to be here to be able to announce this. You know, when I was 8 years old, I got a passbook savings account, and I had, I think, about $8 in it. And you go to the savings and loan, and you give them a quarter, and they'd stamp your account. And I got to see the power of compound interest early in my life. And that has brought me here to this moment. And hopefully will inspire that kind of opportunity for many more young people in this country. So again, thank you for the privilege of being here.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Susan. So beautiful. Thank you very much. Susan, would you like to say something?
I'd just like to say how excited we are to be a part of this. We believe that when children have a future that they can see is worth saving for, then that will help build hope and opportunity and prosperity for generations to come. So we're so excited to be doing this and hope to have many people join in our efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. So beautiful.
Well, first, it's an incredible honor to be here, and we wouldn't be here without the passage of the Invest America Act. And everybody up here today played a role in getting that done. The Speaker, Ted Cruz, in drafting the legislation so that when the President placed the call to the Speaker and said, let's make this happen in the big, beautiful bill, Congress was ready to act. They had the legislation drafted. But I couldn't be more grateful for the friendship and the partnership of the Dells that really show the best of America. Today is Giving Tuesday, right? And the fact of the matter is, for decades, we've talked about the wealth gap. We've talked about too many people left out and left behind. This president was elected on a Main Street agenda to get the rest of America into the game. And that's exactly what this does. It gets every American child, 3.7 million children born every year, will now start life off with an investment account, seeded with $1,000. And then you're going to have great philanthropists, great Americans like Michael and Susan, who are going to add money to those accounts. We're overwhelmed with the number of companies that want to contribute to these accounts. Already companies from Uber to NVIDIA, T-Mobile to Charter Communications, Dell, et cetera, the list goes on. And every day more companies are calling us, raising their hands and saying, we want to be part of this. It's like a 401k from birth. It's a benefit for the kids of our employees, right? Major philanthropists. But I think what this is going to unlock is the power of families. Moms and dads Venmoing and Apple Paying and $5, $10, right? And getting these kids into the game. When we had the round table at the White House earlier this year, Dara Khosrowshahi, the CEO of Uber, said, after fleeing Iran at the age of 9 with nothing, he came to America because it was the land of hope. And he said what the Invest America Act does is it bottles up hope for every child in America. Whether you're in rural Mississippi or rural Indiana, where I came from, inner city Trenton or Compton, you're now in the game, right? That act alone, I think, reinvigorates the American dream. It reinvigorates the idea of free market capitalism. Too many people are losing faith in you, sir. By passing the Invest America Act and getting all these kids into the game, this is a transformational act in this country forevermore. Every child starts off life in the game with a piece of the American dream compounding in the upside of America. So thank you for having us here.
I think the secretary first. I defer to the brains.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I think this is a major change in philanthropy and for American working families. It is the merging of President Trump's agenda of parallel prosperity, Main Street meets Wall Street. For the next 5 years, every child born in the U.S. will get a $1,000 Trump account that will be with them and compound for the next 18 years. Treasury Department with other branches of government is going to do financial literacy, and we are going to make sure that all American families have a stake in the success of the United States of America. So every day when the stock market goes up or down, and we believe over the 18 years it will go up and families will learn the power of compounding, that it will be a game changer. People who have a stake in the system and become more and more vested in the system, they do not want to bring down the system, they want to make it better. So I think we will look back on today and know that these Trump accounts, they have started a new age of the capitalism and market interest for the whole country. I also think that it is a game changer, as we're seeing with Michael and Susan Dell today, that Americans are the most generous people in the history of the world, and the Trump accounts will provide a vehicle for philanthropists such as Michael and Susan and many more to contribute. And at Treasury, we are working, so Michael and Susan want to do it for children born in the past 10 years, a certain income level. As Brad said, it can be tailored, it can be to employees. It could be a philanthropist could adopt a state, they can adopt a school, they can adopt a zip code, they can adopt a street. And so we will constantly see these accounts be topped up. For those of you on the Treasury, will be running this on the operational side. For those of you who would like to, you can go to trumpaccounts.gov today and see the homepage that has a basic outline. These will become operational on July 5th of this year. And we will have families start signing up for them. So, and that homepage will answer all the questions on eligibility and investments. And then finally, today we're here on Giving Tuesday. Michael and Susan have led the way, but I think that there's a chance that every Tuesday can become Giving Tuesday as more and more philanthropists see the power of this, of giving to American families, giving to American children, and giving everyone a stake in our great economy. So thank you very much.
I'll be brief. There's a lot of symbolism here today. Right here on the eve of the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are the greatest nation by any objective measure. We're the most free, most powerful, most successful, and most benevolent nation that's ever been. And I think what you're seeing here is another exhibit of that. This idea, this vision came about because Brad and a couple of smart guys came up with this idea, and then took a few years to sell the idea to everybody. And then these visionary legislators,
That lady
over here,
looks like
Senator
she
Ted
owns
Cruz and
something.
Blake Moore in the
I'm
House,
sorry.
and Jason Smith, the Ways and Means Chair, really caught the vision. And we put it into the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut.
Ozempic, man.
We've been saying all along that was drafted
wild
to
Ozempic
really
eyes.
help lower and middle class earners in America. And this is one of the great features. One of the perils of having the big, beautiful bill and having it all in there together, the President and I have talked about many times, is that there's so many great things in that legislation, we don't have enough time to talk about all of it. So we need a moment to really focus on this. Giving Tuesday is a perfect time to do it. And it's absolutely
Maybe it's
perfect,
the,
I think, that July 5th becomes the operational date, right after the nation's birthday. So what we're going to see here is a model that I don't think anyone has done anywhere in the world. They wouldn't have the capability to do it. They wouldn't have philanthropists and great Americans with big hearts like this who've earned their way and really fulfilled the American dream. And they have a vision and a desire for more and more people to do that. And so now, more and more Americans will. It kind of evens the playing field in a way, right? And everybody has an opportunity. So we're just excited to be a part of it, grateful to the vision, grateful to a president who leads from the front, who understands the potential of something like this. And this will be one of the many marquee achievements of the Trump administration. This will be one that people remember for a long, long time. And I think it can change the country. So thanks, Mr. President. Thanks, Brad, all of you for being a part. Thank you to the Dells. Really amazing. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you.
Well, I want to congratulate all the men and women up here. And, Mr. President, I think objectively on the merits, the case can be made that there has never been a president who's had a greater positive impact on the children of America than you have. And in particular, in this one big, beautiful bill, I think the two most long-lasting and far-reaching provisions are, number one, the school choice provision that you signed into law that is going to unleash tens of billions of dollars to scholarships to low-income kids all over the country and is going to change the lives of millions of kids. And the second provision is this provision right here, the Trump accounts. These Trump accounts, starting on July 4th, every child in America will have a personal investment account opened for them. Newborn children will have it seeded with $1,000.
Bro.
Parents and family and employers can contribute up to $5,000 a year
Are y'all
in a
hearing
tax-advantaged account. That money will be invested in the S&P 500 in the stock market, broad-based equity index account. Two massive benefits that change this country. Number one, every child in America will experience the benefits of compound growth. Take a little girl born next year. She's born next year. She has the account opened for her. $1,000 is automatically seeded. Her parents, her family, or an employer puts $5,000 a year each year into that account. If you assume the historic rate of growth of the S&P 500, which is 7% a year.
This is a very,
by
very
the time
big,
that little girl is
big
18,
thing.
she will have
This is huge.
$170,000 in that account. And if she keeps saving,
Seriously.
by the time that little girl is 35, she will have $700,000 in that account.
This is something-
that is game-changing, and we're not talking
This country
the
has
children
needed
of
this
Michael
for a
and Susan
long
Dell, the
time.
children of
We
Donald
need
Trump,
financial
the children
literacy.
of people of great success. We're talking the kids of a single mom waiting tables who could have $700,000 saved by the time she's 35 to get an education, to start a business, to buy a house. That changes their whole lives. But the second benefit, and what I'm really excited about,
This is amazing, bro.
is we are creating a new generation of capitalists. Every child in America is going to be an owner of the biggest employers in this country.
This is
We've
incredible.
all seen the sad
Does it
statistics
apply?
of
Did
how
I
many
miss? Does it
kids
apply to
are losing faith in
children that are
capitalism.
already born, though?
Well, 10 years from now, a little boy is going to pull out his phone and he's going to look at his app and he's going to see his Trump account. And instead of thinking of big, bad, scary corporations, that little boy is going to say, I own $50 of Apple. I own $100 of Dell. I own $75 of McDonald's. And every child is an owner of the biggest employers in this country. That will transform this country. Mr. President, thank you for signing it. Let me say, Brad, this would not be a law if Brad Gerstner did not pursue it with absolute dogged determination, relentless. I've gotten calls and texts from Brad at 6 a.m. and at 2 a.m. You may sleep less than the president, Brad, and that is a remarkable thing because I don't think he sleeps at all. And finally, I'll just say to Michael and Susan, incredible Texans, $6.25 billion is extraordinarily generous. Let me say, on behalf of 25 million kids who just got a gift from Michael and Susan, and it's not a gift of a video game, it's not a gift of a bicycle, it's an investment in their future. That changes their lives, and I hope and believe Michael and Susan are going to inspire millions across the country to do the same thing. When Congress passed Section 401k of the ERISA, I don't know that anyone realized how much it would change retirement plans. There's now trillions of dollars in 401k plans. They're going to be trillions of dollars in these. These are 401ks for kids. And Mr. President, these Trump accounts exist because you signed them. Thank you for your leadership. It's an honor to work with you.
Perfect. Thank you. First, I would just want to thank Michael and Susan for the kind gift. What you all have done will be transformational for 25 million kids. And a lot of people we can thank for the provisions in this big, beautiful bill, but there is no one to thank greater than President Donald Trump. And I'll tell you this, out of every executive I've ever worked with, there's no one that's been more engaging, no one that has been more involved. And the only reason why these investment accounts are in the big, beautiful bill is because he helped convince other members of Congress that this is a good idea. This has been something that has been discussed for a long time.
I appreciate the input in the chat, guys.
But no one could ever get it passed. But who helped get it passed was
absolutely
Donald
phenomenal.
Trump. I can tell you that
this
from
is
day
incredible
one throughout the process. And so
I'm not
that's
sure people
going to affect
understand.
millions of kids in their futures.
Thank you. I was not planning or prepared to speak today, but the gravity of the situation is not lost on me. I have 4 boys of my own, 13 and under, and on the heels of a $6 billion announcement, I hope that doesn't go without some major headlines, that I will be making an announcement of my own that I will be contributing $60 to each one of my children's accounts today. Actually, to try to bring some levity to that, every parent, every grandpa and grandma can now look and say, I can get my grandkid this little toy or something, and maybe that's going to continue to happen. But there is a new option and another way for them to be able to invest and have a lasting legacy. And as a dad of 4 kids, seeing kids in our neighborhood, them to have that opportunity is something that not every day in Congress, as I've joked with my colleagues, is the most productive day in my career. But to be able to be a part of something like this is, it makes everything worthwhile. I'm away from my kids a ton in this job, and being able to be a part of something like this, a small part that I played, is something that is transformational, and I'll be able to look back on this and be so.
What is going on, Deadwood? Good to see you, bro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the chance to be here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would anybody have a question? Michael, Susan, Brad? Please.
Yeah, one for you two. If you could, did either of you say you're donating how much? Mr. President, is there an educational value to this in terms of not just the money in the account? What can kids learn in this account?
Well, I think they can learn a little bit about the free enterprise system. They can really learn a lot about how life works, how business works.
Deadwood coming through with the channel membership giveaway. Thank you, bro.
Maybe it's going to be a lot more than we think, or maybe it's not going to be quite as much as we think, depending on what happens with the world and the market. We'll try and do very well in that regard too, but there's a lot of learning to be done, and I think this is a big step forward.
And your reaction, did either of you say you're donating how much?
Yeah, we already said it. It's $6.25 billion.
No, I mean with the reaction between the two of you. Someone came up with the idea.
Oh, sure. Oh, well. So we kind of started with a smaller amount, to be honest. And we started talking about Texas only at the beginning.
And adopting the state of Texas.
Right. And then we thought about it some more, and we thought
Got pretty excited about the idea.
Yep, and we went back and forth, and as we do on these things, and we
got
ended
more
up.
and more excited, and next thing you know.
This is where we ended up. So, but
The number
a
kept
lot
climbing.
of discussion and consideration over a long period of time.
Yeah.
We
we believe
we
this
feel
is
great about it.
the greatest investment that we could possibly make is in children, and we've been investing in children for over 26 years with our foundation.
Yeah, and you know, there are 30 states already that require at least one semester of financial literacy, and hopefully all 50 states will do that. And you know, as children begin to understand that they have these accounts, that creates a real
has
need
this not been done
for our
like
schools,
10 years
our
ago
parents, our community
is my
organizations
question.
to really begin to grow financial literacy in the country, which can only
It took the big man Trump to bring it to fruition and make this a reality, bro. I mean, come on, why have we not done this already for our children? For our future generations. Thank you, Trump, bro. I don't care what anybody thinks or says about the man. He is doing good things for this country and for our future.
I know this relationship so well. There could be a lot of truth to that, but it shows you that.
And if he benefits in some way,
some pretty tough people. He's a tough cookie.
if he's a businessman, if he can benefit us, benefit the country, and maybe he benefits in some way,
It's going to be talked about for a long time.
are you okay with that?
May I ask a question? Thank you, sir. My question is about the logistics or the administration of the program. You obviously want to help poorer children. How will you help families perhaps who don't have access to computers or internet at home to make this program a reality? Sure. And please speak in the microphone if you don't mind for our TV.
Well, first, Treasury, as the Secretary talked about, is going to be administering the program. And we should just say that Luke Pettit, the Assistant Treasury Secretary, has just done an extraordinary job with the Secretary in what I think will be the biggest consumer launch in the history of government. 60 million accounts are going to get created next year. And these accounts are going to be promulgated. All parents are going to have to do is to claim the account. So if they have access to an Android phone or a public library to go to a computer and gain access, they can claim that account. And whether they claim it or not, the account is going to continue to compound. So they don't have a deadline by which they have to claim the account. There's time, right? And there's going to be a lot of resources. Think about this. Kids in school, we're going to have schools engaged, helping to tell them that they need to claim their accounts, to educate them, et cetera. We're going to run a big public campaign around this. So we're just getting started. Today is day one. This is an extraordinary contribution, but it's the beginning of a drumbeat you're going to hear for the next 6 months leading up to the 250th anniversary of the country. I don't think there's anybody in the country who won't have heard about this by the time we get to July 4th of next year. And we're going to make sure, listen, we know that wealthy families have access to 529 accounts, right? This is an opportunity, and the instruction was, how do we get the 50 million other families into the game? This is the first time we've done that because we're auto-creating these accounts for every child at birth, and so we're going to be very focused on making sure that every family entitled to get one of these accounts is able to claim it and get it.
Daniel, do you have a question?
Yes, sir. These programs seem to create an opportunity for parents to create unprecedented financial security for their children, sir. Do you believe that these accounts will be a big part of your legacy when everything goes down? We've heard talks about legacy as a peacemaker, but this is a really, really big deal.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do think so, and I think it's a big part of everybody up here today. This was a group that was very instrumental, and in particular, obviously, Michael and Susan, it's a big part of their legacy. You know, they've got a big legacy anyway, but this is maybe going to be as important or more important than anything they've done thus far. It's looking back in 100 years from now, I think you're going to see some things that they'll be talking about this very day. So thank you for that question. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. These accounts were originally discussed as a way to incentivize people to have more children. Are there any other policy proposals you're looking at like this to encourage the birth rate to increase?
Well, we are looking at programs. We're looking at There's a certain Australian plan that people are liking and they're talking about. You know what I mean? There's a plan where, not for children necessarily, but it's for people, working people. And we are looking at other things different from this. I think this is very unique, but different from this, but very important, yeah.
You mean the Australian retirement savings program?
Say it?
You mean the Australian retirement savings program?
That's what they're talking about, yep. We're looking at it very seriously. It's a good plan. It's worked out very well. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you talk about what tax benefits these accounts come with? The information sheet that we just received said that when a child turns 18, they'll be treated like traditional IRAs and subject to a 10% withdrawal tax.
I'm just kidding. She's beautiful, man. She's beautiful.
When will children be able to access these funds?
They can access them when they're 18, or they can convert them to an IRA at that time. During the 18 years, parents or employers can donate with the tax deduction up to $5,000 into each account, and then philanthropists, like Michael and Susan, can add an unlimited amount to the accounts. So $5,000 from employees or families, and then gifts from foundations and philanthropists can be an unlimited amount.
Mr. President, you said that you have been talking to your wealthy friends, as well as you, Mr. Dell, about contributing. Can you walk us through maybe who you've been talking to and how much more we can expect on top of
I think the people you probably would think I would be talking to. There's a group of people out there that have been very successful, and we've already started talking to them. You know, we're doing ballrooms, we're doing arcs, we have a thing that's being planned that's going to be a great tribute to the country, as you know. You probably heard about it. The arc that we're looking at by the bridge near Arlington, there's going to be something. We're doing some other things for Washington itself and for the country itself. But a lot of the people that have, gone in and done a real job with that. The ballroom, I think Michael and Susan, the next time we meet, well, I think hopefully we'll meet before then, but we're going to have a big event over in the ballroom to celebrate this. We're building a ballroom that they've wanted at this beautiful White House for 150 years. They've wanted it so badly. Right now we can hold 109 people if you're lucky in a room. It's a beautiful room, but it's 109 people, and we're building something. You see the trucks in the back. You see the clanging, the banging, and when it's completed, it'll be one of the greatest ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's going to be amazing. So people that were involved in that process, I have a lot of friends with a lot of success, and every one of them, I would be shocked if anyone turns us down. We're going to have a lot of big contributors, Jeff.
On a separate topic, if I may, sir, you had a call with Brazil's President Lula today. Can you tell us what you discussed?
Yeah, we had a great talk. We talked about trade. We talked about sanctions, because, as you know, I sanctioned them, having to do with certain things that took place. But we had a very good talk. I like him, very good. We had some good meetings, as you know, but we had a very good talk today. Yes, I did.
You also pardoned the former president of Honduras, and he was released from prison
I
yesterday.
did. Well, he was the president, and they had some drugs being sold in their country, and because he was the president, they went after him. That was a Biden horrible witch hunt, which was, a lot of people in Honduras asked me to do that, and I did it. I feel very good about it. If you have some drug dealers in your country and you're the president, you don't necessarily put the president in jail for 45 years. That was a Biden-inspired witch hunt.
Did his letter impact your decision on that, sir, from Mr. Stone?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Your recent decisions to Syria renew many hopes for the Syrian people. And now the minorities in Syria, like Kurds, Christians, and Jews, they want U.S. help them to have some sort of autonomy and their rights being protected in Syria. How do you
We're going to give them help, and I think Syria has come a long way. The new leader of Syria was here, as you know, 3 weeks ago, and he was really into making that country, bringing the country around. Not an easy job. Not an easy job. It's centuries of problems. But I think he's going to do a good job. I mean, I have a lot of confidence in him. Yeah, please.
Mr. President.
In the broader context of the economy with these childhood investments, we just saw the biggest Black Friday in history, up 4.1% from last year, $26 billion. Kevin told me about that. We also saw that they're going to spend $1 trillion on Christmas this year, $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Increasing 4.1%. 25 states, gas is below $3, a handful below $2.50 and getting better. Energy policy matters. The economy
I like
matters.
this guy.
Well, and timing matters.
Who are you with?
Real America's Voice.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
But
I
timing
like you
matters.
very much. Keep talking.
So if you invest with these children now, the economy, the better the economy is, the better for the children, right? We're in a pretty good spot right now.
Sure. Well, I do, and I appreciate it. No, we have an amazing thing. We have over almost $20 trillion of investment coming in. I don't even know if you know that. 20 trillion, that's a lot by any standard, right? But Biden, as an example, I say this, his administration over a 4-year period had much less than $1 trillion. And we're up to 18, I guess right now, Scott, about 18 trillion in 10 months. And there's never been a country, China, no country has ever done anything even close to that. Even if you figure 20% of that, no country's done 20%. And it's because of tariffs and I think because of November 5th, the election day. But we have now under construction, I guarantee you're expanding a lot of your different places.
He did mention it at the very beginning, but it has not mentioned anything else since.
Places like that. We have car companies. We have
he mentioned
AI
there might
coming
be
in at levels.
a
Nobody's
new
ever seen
Fed chair
anything
in the
like
room.
It's amazing.
But
and all of these places, hundreds and hundreds of plants, thousands. They're going to be opening.
Which we all know who he has
a lot of
nominated,
success,
or who
a lot
he
of
would
jobs.
like to see.
And I say it all the time. The king of Saudi Arabia said to me a year
Jerome
ago,
Powell's place.
He said, 1 year ago, your country was dead. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. And that's what we have. And it's one of the reasons Michael's able to do this. It's one of the reasons I'm able to be here and, having really
rate
run a
cuts
very
for December
successful
locked in
campaign. We
still.
won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions. We won the districts. I tell you, the district vote is the most impressive. 2,750 compared to 550.
The
That's some
December
difference.
FOMC
And
is going to be
we just had
such a big one.
We just had a tremendous
I will be live
election
covering it
and
as well.
A tremendous vote of confidence. And thank you very much for that question. Thank you.
Mr. President, if enough conservative lawmakers say they won't
On
extend
immigration,
ACA
sir.
subsidies, will you make a deal with Democrats?
Mr. President. Thank you.
Will you make a deal with Democrats on ACA subsidies?
Thank you.
I like to end with that question.
All right,
Expand the
guys.
travel ban, Mr. President.
So basically, guys, what I have gathered from this. So what I have actually gathered from what we just watched, basically, I believe this announcement from Trump was more so to just showcase his plans for American children. I think this is an amazing thing. I know what you guys, I'm going to look more in depth into this and do a little more research into this plan, but, like I said earlier, why have we not already done this in this country 10 years ago? Why are we not already, educating our children more on financial literacy, on why it's so important to invest and compound and grow money, put your money to work for you. It wasn't until my mid-20s, before I finally really started to educate myself. And it depends on your surroundings, your circumstances, your environment, your upbringing, and everything. It depends on how you were raised, what you were taught as far as being, financially literate or not, or frugal or not. And a lot of it comes down to that. We are products of our environment, but I believe that this announcement was mostly to showcase that plan for American children and American families, and I think it's a good plan so far. We don't know everything about it, of course. We just know the surface of it, but we'll see. And, big question for you guys in the chat right now. If this plan does follow through, if Trump follows through with this plan, if this does become, if this is real, and you have an opportunity to sign your children up for this, will you do it? Will you do it? Do you trust Trump's this Trump account for American children, so that every American child that is born will automatically have a stake in this country, in these investments? I personally think it's a good idea. I think I would do it. I think that I of course want to know more details, but I think it would be a great idea. I think it'd be a very good thing. Now, I will be live covering the December FOMC. Okay, so once we do get the FOMC, which that is the 9th and the 10th, I believe, and I will be live covering that as well. Right now we can see that rate cut odds, the odds for rate cut expectations are still considerably up, and the U.S. Fed has ended quantitative tightening with $13.5 billion liquidity pump. Is there a crypto market rally ahead? Now, we are still waiting here to see. Poly market, of course, still a very big, high likelihood of a rate cut in this month as well. And then we are just simply waiting for the next FOMC meeting. And I do hope to see each and every one of you guys there. I will be covering it live, and I hope to see you guys there. If you have not subscribed yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Smash the like button on the way out if you have not, or on the way in. And again, it's been really, really productive stream today. I appreciate all of you guys that have showed up. Deadwood, I appreciate you as well. Basically, there was a whole bunch of nothing burgers, but then there was one really big detail in the announcement that I think will be bullish for the market. And again, Deadwood, thank you for giving away that channel membership. Guys, if you want to join the channel as a member and get some extra cool perks and help support this community and this channel, please do so by clicking the join button on the channel profile. I do appreciate you guys very much and wish nothing but good gains and prosperity for everybody viewing the stream today. I will have a video coming out soon on the Ethereum upgrade that is coming and what it means for the price of Ethereum. So thank you guys again for showing up today. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.